I'm James Schmidt from WLB-TV48 as well. I too am very disappointed in the language that's been adopted because essentially if this area was Tuscaloosa, Alabama, you'd have a lot more dead people because they weren't able to get their TV reception. You just decimated public safety for your people by adopting that language. And I would ask you to adopt WLB's language that we put together. We've spent over $60,000 on that language. It's good language. It provides public safety for every resident of Riga Township. And you guys are on the fringe, as Mr. Doomering has said publicly on several occasions. And so you are really messing with not being able to receive your network signals. This is not just about WLB, even though it does create a particular situation due to our proximity. You know, the studies speak for themselves. They're very good scientific studies. As Eric said, you haven't tied anything out to any standard. They produce a standard that says it decimates all the signals. Then what? Everything in our thing gave mitigation standards. Everything in our documentation provided all type of safeguards for the public citizens so that they can enjoy not only their local television. If they want to, times are tough economically, they can cut the cord and they can go back to free over-the-air television. They can use in times of public distress and carry their TV sets down into their basements and look at those things. You know, there's absolutely no valid reason why that language is not a good, solid language for you to adopt. And we have done a lot of hard work for a lot of broadcasters in the area, but particularly being mindful of people in Riga Township who we have served with our signal for over 13 years. And so I would ask you to amend the language tonight to adopt WLB's language before you leave this evening.
Opens up a lot of questions, what we heard tonight. How many times will the setbacks be changed? I mean, didn't we agree on this twice already? Yep. We're just going to hand the developers a blank draft ordinance. What we really did tonight, if they put 300 footers up, we only have to have 1,200 foot from a non-participating parcel, correct? If they put 250 footers up, they got their 1,000 foot, which they wanted to start with. How do we know they're going to be 500 footers? There's no guarantee they're just going to put 500 footers in. You can put a bunch of 250s in and they're at their 1,000 foot, which they asked for to start with. If I'm figuring right. 4 times 250 is 1,000. Just gave in to them.
Josh Nolan, Pennsylvania. A few things that I'd have to agree with the sentiments that we've heard so far, that what's came out tonight was very disappointing. I mean, the Planning Commission has never addressed the property value guarantee that was submitted by the IICC. You continue to allow developers to play with other people's money. They've told people time and again that they won't impact their property values, but they refuse to stand behind that. There was a property value guarantee that was submitted that protected the residents of this area and required no involvement of the township whatsoever. There was no enforcement entanglement, there was no cost to the township. All it did was provide protection to the residents, and it was never even discussed. The next issue that was also disregarded completely that was submitted by the IICC was the on-demand lighting system. That was a system that would only turn on those blinking red lights when there was an aircraft in the area that required it for safety. That's an issue that was actually first presented by Mr. Doomering himself. So an issue that there was the one issue that I found that there was actually agreement between the IICC and Exelon. And that issue was, again, never even discussed by the Planning Commission. It was a method of reducing the visual pollution to your citizens at no cost to the township and no enforcement entanglement. And again, never even mentioned. The setback. The setback tonight was reduced by 30%. We started out at 2650. We're now down to 1972. That's a very large difference. And for the life of me, I didn't hear any scientific basis for that whatsoever. Instead, we were negotiating up here 3.5, 4.25, 4. Someone please explain to me the scientific basis for that number. Because from what I heard, it is the very definition of arbitrary and capricious to just pull a number out of the air without any sort of scientific basis for it whatsoever. And I have a sneaking suspicion we'll get to find that out. The other issue that we're looking at is the sound limits. We went from a property line measurement to a house measurement. Complete disregard for the statements that were made at the last special meeting and how the noise will affect sleep and at what levels it will affect sleep. But we can't even measure how much the sound limit was reduced because of the change from the property line to the home. So we can't even look at that 30% setback number like we've already discussed. So again, what I've seen come out tonight was very disappointing. I thought we had a good ordinance that provided strong protections for the citizens of this area, and it has been watered down beyond belief. So that's what I have to say, and I guess the next round we'll take it up with the township board. Thank you.
I'm Eugene Canavo, a landowner in Riga Township, and I didn't see any provision at all for a setback from the non-participating unoccupied property. Could they put it right on my property line? And also, I believe the citizens of this township will have the final say with a vote on this ordinance.
My name is Dave Porter. I live in Ogden, but I pay taxes in Riga. I'm glad I'm not in you guys' shoes. You couldn't pay me enough to sit up there and do what you guys are doing. I applaud you for that. And I think you're doing a good job. I think you're moving in the right direction. But I think you guys, one thing you need to make sure that you're keeping in mind that the decisions you guys make are huge. It's not just for Riga or Ogden or Palmer, it's for the whole county of Lenawee at this point. Kind of what you guys do is setting the tone. And I know you guys have taken that on your shoulders. And again, I applaud you for what you've done, and I'd like to keep doing the work.
I got one thing to say, Dave. Before, take a ride over Dane, Ohio.
Been there.
You been there?
Yep.
You been there lately? After they cut all them tiles, there will be no farming done over there this year. Every tile, wherever there's a windmill, every farm is cut up. Every tile is busted up, they're pumping up right through the field. Guys had grain bulked over there. I wonder how they're gonna raise it to deliver.
I have enough faith in the project and the guys that are doing it to realize that they're going to come in and repair the tile that they damaged. Well,
they didn't do it over there. I just wonder how they're going to do it here.
well, I don't know if they've done it or not. I don't think you do because it's in the ground. And I've also heard that they plowed them in, which is not true. I was over there and I saw them using a ditching machine. So, you know, it's kind of like this whole project.
Why are they
It's
tiling the
a
front?
lot of half-truths, a lot of misinformation keeps flying around here. And I'm sick and tired. I'm glad you guys have voted to pass this on because this thing needs to move one direction or another. And I agree with the gentleman before me. It should come to a vote of the township. If they disagree, fine. I don't care. The decision should be made, but we can't just keep arguing back and forth. There's nothing to be gained by that.
I'm Doug Dewing with Exelon. First of all, I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for their work on this and for moving it on to the board tonight. I'd also like to thank you for your consideration in changing the measurement point for sound to the residences, which I think is a much more balanced position. We remain disappointed that the setbacks are defined from property lines rather than from residences, as we think is more appropriate. And we were disappointed to see the inclusion of DVC, as a sound limit based on DVC, which seems to be contrary to the science that we have from our sound guide. But once again, thank you for moving it on tonight. We look forward to working with the board on the next step.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this regular meeting of the Planning Commission. So moved. Moved by Castle, is there a second? Second by Gilliland to adjourn the meeting. We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned at 9:04.